Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my review of Doctor Who, The Mythmakers. Now, this one is slightly odd in the terms of the release schedule, because it's coming between two Dalek stories. Mission to the Unknown, a single Dalek cutaway episode without the Doctor or his companions, that serves as a prologue to the much bigger 12-part Dalek Master Plan, which follows this story. So, yeah, having Mission to the Unknown between Galaxy 4 and Mythmakers, as I mentioned in the review of Mission to the Unknown, I think was a mistake. I think that should have gone before Master Plan, and this should have gone in between Galaxy 4 and Mission to the Unknown. Because it throws the audience, what audience watching it. The alternative is to move the two stories as far away from each other as possible. Because in that case, then you've got a long wait to see what happens next, and you're building to suspension. But in terms of how long the gap is, it's only 4 episodes. 4 episodes, one story in between. And something completely different. Something that would feel better going before Mission to the Unknown. And that is a historical about the Trojan Horse. There's also another thing that's riding on this story is the fact that it's also Vicky's last story and the introduction to Katarina, the next companion, who I think is completely pointless considering what happens to her in the next story. Yeah, I think it would have been better, personally, if Vicky survived this story, if they got rid of that pointless love story and just kept her in until Dalek Master Plan, and then she sacrificed herself in episode 4, giving Vicky a great send-off. And not bothering with this new companion who they decided who came from a too early point in history to even bother having in future setting episodes, or even present day setting episodes. They thought Katarina was too far in the past to work as a companion, so they killed her off 4 episodes into the master plan, giving her a grand total of 5 episodes. That's right, 5 episodes as a companion. She doesn't even appear in this story until the last one, and even then she just joins the TARDIS crew just because. What a waste of a character. And even Adam Mitchell, despite him only getting 2 episodes, maybe even 1 as a companion, he still had more personality. He wasn't a great personality, but he had he had enough for him to be considered point full. Okay, Adam didn't have the most personality, but it was enough to consider him a pointful character. Katarina is pointless. Well, actually, Adam is pointless, but he's more pointful than this one. Katarina is just a character, I think. Maybe as a side character in this story, fine. But as a companion, I think they just should have not bothered with the Vicky Troilus love story. Well, maybe it could have been, but she just decides not to stay with him and she goes with the Doctor, but she ends up deciding to save the Doctor and Stephen and sacrifices herself in part 4. In fact, part 4, Katarina dies pretty early on, to be fair, so yeah, but it would have been it'd be much better if it was Vicky, in a way, and she would want the Doctor and Stephen to stop the Daleks for her. See? Easy. But I know, they had to go and screw up, and Season 3 has the worst companion lineup. Well, not lineup as in the worst characters, it's just that it just can't hold on to some of them. Vicky goes here, Katarina is off after 4 episodes, Sarah Kingdom takes her place until the end of Master Plan, then you got bloody Dodo at the end of the arc, and then Stephen goes in the Savages, and then Dodo goes halfway through War Machines, and then you got Ben and Polly at the very end, and who actually, well, certainly Ben at least, do more in War Machines than Dodo. I would even say Polly is, and she's hypnotised half the time. And then is handled much better in season 4. So yeah, but I think they get the grip on sorting out the companions by season 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8 at a push. But certainly season 3 is all over the place with its companions, and it all starts here. I mean, you got one previous story with Steven and Vicky, just like the Time Meddler, and you got your Dalek Cutaway episode. But now, after this episode, it all goes tits up in terms of companion lineup in this season. As for the rest of the story, okay, it's not that great, but it's still a pretty good historical episode considering it. And there is a bit of I wouldn't say this back and forth, but it's just, the situation keeps changing. The Doctor is mistaken for Zeus, then he admits he is not Zeus, but then he's given a chance to redeem himself by designing something great. He eventually ends up building the Trojan horse. Meanwhile, Steven decides to go and find Vicky, disguising himself as a Greek. Vicky comes out of the TARDIS to avoid being burnt and wows everybody apart from the not soothsayer, I would say. Not Oracle, soothsayer Oracle character. Cassandra, not to be confused with Cassandra from the new series. Completely different character. In fact, there's quite a few Cassandras in Doctor Who. There's another one who's Amy's makeup artist in Asylum of the Daleks, who gets a Dalek eye stalk in her and becomes a puppet. You get other Cassandras in the show besides the bitchy bouncy trampoline. And then Vicky and Steven recognise each other, so they're thrown into dungeons, but Troilus still fancies Vicky. I don't even remember his first scene with her. I'm sure it must have been in episode 2 when they first meet her, or shortly afterwards, but then he's certainly obsessed with her by episode 3 and visiting her as much as he can, coming to see her. Ooh, they're so in love. The romance in this story isn't as well built as the romance in Dalek Invasion of Earth, and yeah, let's be frank, I have to quote my friend Ollie Pajak, aka Mr. Todd 7. The romance in this story in Vicky's exit is very much a copy of Susan's. Well, I say quote, like he said, it's basically Susan's, but not as good. Like, that's another reason why Vicky should have stayed on to Dalek Master Plan and had Katerina's death as her exit. It would have been so much better for the character, and it wouldn't be a carbon copy as Susan's. Not only that, but this carbon copy isn't really that well. I suppose maybe the fact that it has 2 less episodes than Dalek Invasion of Earth. But that being said, they can still do really good romance stuff in 4, or even in this case, 2 or 3 episodes. The new series gets it done in less amount of time than this. What's this one's excuse? I'll tell you what this one's excuse is, because the first episode focuses mostly on the Doctor and maybe a bit of Steven at the Greek camp, and it's all going la-di-da-di-da. There's this one character who, he's really all over the place. He's a really dickish character in the first episode, but when in the second episode, he's like, you may have a chance to redeem yourself if you are who you say you are. Not Zeus, person from the future. If you're so clever, how about you build us a way to get into the city? But then he gets a bit more dickish in the third one, and then by the fourth one, he's back to full dick mode. I don't really like this character. I only like him in episode 2 and parts of 3. I'm sure you know what I mean. He's really loud and bombastic and has a really deep, not deep, gravelly voice. It's like Brian Blessed if you could hear hear what he's saying, and he's not as cute or cuddly. Yeah, Brian Blessed is cute and cuddly compared to this guy. In fact, Brian Blessed is cute and cuddly, full stop. And in the second episode, it's just focusing on the family, apart from Cassandra's, smuffing themselves with Vicky, smitten, that's it, smitten, yeah, being smitten by her. Somehow, she doesn't even do anything, and they're smitten. Cassandra, on the other hand, is really pissed off. She really despises Vicky and wants her dead every second she wants. What a bitch. And I do have to say the actress playing Cassandra is good in the quieter moments, but when she's shouting and screeching, that's when the character becomes insufferable. The writing in this episode is not that great. I think story-wise it's good, but character-wise it's lacking. I had this down as an 8 out of 10. I might have to change that score. before I get to my result. Eventually, the Trojans are as you know, Trojan horse. Greeks entered the city, unbolted the city gates, so even more Greeks can come in. They sack Troy, they kill the king, Paris, although I think some historical bits aren't quite right. I think Paris died a bit earlier to when this is set. This is supposed to be when the end of the war. But I thought Paris died sooner, and then Helen of Troy married his brother Diomedes. We don't see Diophobic. It's mentioned in Horrible Histories, but does not appear in this story. Instead, we've got two other brothers. Troilus, the youngest, is there, and of course we've also got Hector, who's killed by Achilles at the start. Does Achilles even fight in the Trojan Wars? I believe it, if that's the case. And by the looks of it, his heel is his downfall, as he's killed by Troilus in part 4. In a pretty pointless battle, and unless that actually happened in history, I don't think that scene was needed. In fact, they also make Menelaus look like an old git, a lazy old git, and his father, brother, king, other guy, being a bit bossy as well. I know, I thought Menelaus had a lot more to do in the actual battle. Maybe it might have been him who killed Paris, but in this story, he's just made to look like a lazy old bugger. Whilst Paris, on the other hand, I actually found a bit more fun and enjoyable. He was a bit more comedic. Enjoyable. He had some of the best lines of the episode. He was like a posh British guy from the Victorian age, but without the I says and language. He's just really fun. He's really enjoyable. He's even more than Nero from the Romans. He's actually quite funny. He has some of the best lines of the episode, the story. It's actually, I can actually forgive the historical inaccuracies just for this, especially when he's with Stephen. That is great. I'll give them that. Those were great moments. And Paris being smitten by Stephen's false interpretations of him, basically. It's probably due to this that it leads to his downfall in the end, but that's not Stephen's fault, I'll say. So in the end, he decides to leave and go with Troilus, and they go off with Troilus' cousin. Yay. Great. And Katharina takes an injured Stephen to the TARDIS to be saved, and the Doctor takes them away, and they have to go and find some drugs, leading into the Daleks' master plan, and therefore ends a story. I think, it's a good story, but I'm not completely impressed with it. Like I said, I gave it an 8, but thinking about it, I might have to knock it down to a 7. That's a shame. That's the second story I've had to knock down from an 8 to a 7 in this season. Oh well, looks like we're going to have to do this. The Mythmakers, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. There's something wrong with these historical stories. I don't know what it is, but there's something the writers don't seem to be able to get with the historicals. It might be the side characters. Not all of them are that interesting or likeable. So most of them come off as dicks or idiots, apart from a few. The only historical stories I've thought were better than just good at best were Marco Polo, which was very good, and The Time Meddler, which was great. That was brilliant. But then again, that was a pseudo-historical. But even taking out the Meddling Monk, and you've got some... Okay, you haven't got the best characters, but better than some of the other ones. So... Yeah, actually, the Monk was probably the best thing of The Time Meddler, to be honest. And we're going to be seeing the Monk next time as well, in the next story. Yay! So that's the Mythmakers. You know what? After... that was just odd. Just didn't quite work as well. I think if Vicky didn't leave, it might have been a bit better. She stayed on to Master Plan and died in that, and not bothered with having bloody Katharina. Most pointless companion in the show, and I know Adam would be another one for most fans. At least Sarah Kingdom in the next story, she gets a lot to do in her 8-9 episodes. She's in 8-9 episodes. 8 of them as a companion. She's in 9 episodes, 7 or 8 as a companion. and she gets a lot more to do, and she gets a lot more personality. I even have bloody Feast of Stephen be a good example of that. Then this episode, or this story, or the last episode, Mission to the Unknown, for any of the characters. So yeah, thank you for watching my review of The Mythmakers. That's it. That's it. I had 2 disappointing and 1 okay story this season. Season 3 hasn't got off to the best start, has it? I mean, I liked Galaxy 4, but it's been going down, in my opinion, every time. Mission to the Unknown is just not really that much, and this is kind of is all over the place in terms of quality. So Season 3 hasn't had the best start. The first 3 stories have either been okay to good at best, or meh. And the rest of Season 3 is going to be a bit of a mixed bag as well. But before we get to the rest of Season 3, we have the 12-part epic, The Daleks' Master Plan, at long bloody last, my favourite William Hartnell story. It's finally time. It's finally time for the Daleks' Master Plan. Even with the bloody stupid Feast of Stephen, the rest of the story is great, especially the last couple of episodes, minus Feast of Stephen. The second half is better. So what episodes 6 and 7 round, you pretty much got the best half. But yeah, anyway, but we've got to go for the not so good half first. But still, this not so good half is better than some of the other stories we've had before and after in this era, and other eras in some cases. So finally, we're finally going to start the Daleks' Master Plan. I need the Daleks' Master Plan after what I've just experienced this side of Season 3, and like with the chase after some of the struggles of Season 2. You know, Dalek stories fix everything. Well, apart from Mission to the Unknown, but ignoring that, Dalek stories fix everything in the Hartnell and Troughton era. They fix any struggles that we may be going through. This might not be so true for Power and Evil, because they haven't had so many bad or meh or weak episodes preceding it, but certainly for the chase and the Daleks' Master Plan, they help a hell of a lot, and also prepare you for anything coming up that isn't quite as good, which in this case is the worst of Season 3 after Daleks' Master Plan. But it's okay, there's going to be just almost as good stories as Master Plan coming up after that, though, or around the same time as well. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Daleks' Master Plan, yay! I'll shut up now. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. So, yeah, a couple more Cassandras in the show besides the Bouncy Trampoline. So you get a couple of other Cassandras in the show besides the Bouncy Bitchy Trampoline. So you get another... It's basically Susan's, but not again. It's not again. Not. Fuck. And then the second episode, I don't know. I don't think they focused. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching my review of Fuck. But certainly for the chase and Mission to the